Sekarang ini saya sedang berada di Middlebury New Filmmaker Festival, sebuah festival yang sengaja diselenggarakan bagi para filmmaker baru di seluruh dunia. Alright guys, I'm here with Lloyd Commissars. Am I doing right?
Yes, Lloyd Commissar. Very good.
I just want to make sure that I'm saying he's the producers of this Middlebury New Maker Film Festivals. Can you tell me why do you make these festivals? And then is it like only for new filmmakers?
Yes, for first and second time filmmakers. I think our idea from the beginning was to concentrate on new filmmakers because at many festivals, they don't have an opportunity to really shine. And we decided to create this niche that would give them a level playing field. They could come here and have their work shown and showcased, as I said, in a very equitable way. And I think this has worked out well for us. This is our 7th year, and we have been attracting tremendous support from filmmakers around the world, and the quality of the films we show has just improved year after year. So I think the idea of supporting new filmmakers only, giving first and second time filmmakers their shot, it's worthy, and we really like doing it. This is our niche.
Ini dia Indiana Jones, karya sutradara Steven Spielberg, dibintangi oleh aktor Harrison Ford. Salah satu film sequel box office Hollywood produksi Paramount Picture ini sukses dan mampu meraup keuntungan lebih dari $222 juta lewat film perdana. Film ini pertama kali diluncurkan pada bulan Juni tahun 1981 dengan kisah petualangan Profesor Arkeologi Indiana yang jatuh cinta dengan pencari harta karun Marion Ravenwood, dibintangi oleh aktris Karen Allen. 27 tahun kemudian, tahun 2008, Karen Allen kembali memerankan Marion dalam sekuel keempat Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Kali ini, Karen juga bermain bersama aktor Shia LaBeouf. Di antara kesibukan Karen menghadiri dan berdiskusi tentang film Indiana Jones dalam Middlebury New Filmmaker Festival di negara bagian Vermont, Karen menyempatkan diri untuk berbincang khusus dalam VOA Creative Talk. Alright, Karen, thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.
I know you're being very busy, especially with these festivals. So is this your first time to Middlebury?
Yes, I just arrived like half an hour ago. So I haven't really. I don't know Middlebury. I've never been to this festival before, but okay. I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much, and thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. You know, I told my son that I'm gonna meet Marion from Indiana Jones, and he was like, "Oh, really? That's cool." You know, after that I said, "You know what, Karen Allen, she went to FIT," and he was, "Oh, really?" Because he's in FIT.
Oh,
right?
he is.
Yes.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes, he's in menswear right now.
Oh, wow.
So, and then how did you get in FIT? I mean, how? Because
well, this is a long time ago, but my grandmother taught me how to knit when I was very young, and I learned how to knit and really loved working with fibers, and I became somebody who really loved anything. I love textiles. I feel like I probably lived in a much different world in another life in which I was all about textiles. But it was, from the time I was a child, it was a fascination of mine. Everything, every cloth, knitted things, woven things, rugs, dyed things, you name it, I was fascinated, and I still am. I mean, I have a design studio, and I work on Japanese knitting machines and
sell online or something?
No, I have a store.
Oh, you have a store where?
Yeah, I actually represent about 140 textile designers.
Where is it?
It's in Great Barrington, Massachusetts.
Massachusetts, okay.
Yeah. I just drove from there. It's about 3 hours.
3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's good. Let me know. Maybe because sometimes I go to messages and we can make a story about
Yeah.
your story.
Or you can. Yeah, you could go online. It is online. We
It is
have a
online,
website.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you were in FIT, you took art and design class.
I took textile and clothing design, and I did that for 2 years, and then I hesitated about whether I wanted to stay in New York and work in the industry, so to speak, and I decided I really wanted to travel. So I worked for a year, and I saved some money, and I went through Mexico and all of Central and South America.
Did you go to Asia?
Not then. I've been a little bit to Asia.
Which part?
I've been to Japan and to India,
Oh, okay.
and that might be the only parts of Asia I've been to. I'd love to travel more in Asia.
So you're planning to go to Asia, maybe like making a movie in Asia?
I would love to. Bring it on. I almost lost my thumb. It bit my hand so hard right here.
All right. So when you got the role of Marion in Raiders of the Lost of Ark in 1981, right?
Yeah.
And you played with Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
And he was already known as a star because of Star Wars. And you
Yes.
were young. When you play, how did you adjust yourself? Because when I saw that one, the first one in 1980s, I didn't see that you are like a young newcomer. I was like, oh, this is a professional. I thought.
Well, I had done 3 films, but I had worked in the theater for 4 or 5 years.
Broadway?
No, well, no. I worked in. I lived in Washington D.C. And I worked with a theater company there, and then I moved to New York. I moved to New York when I was 17 to go to FIT. Then I moved back to Washington D.C., which is where I had grown up. And after I came back from my travels, I started to work in the theater, and. So I had done 4 years of working in the theater, 2 years of working in film, and then I got cast in Raiders of the Lost Ark. So it seems like you come out of nowhere, but you don't really come out of nowhere. I mean, very rarely would somebody get cast in a film of that scope with no experience at all.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Did you have met Harrison Ford before?
No, well, I was cast first. So Marion was cast first because Tom Selleck originally had been cast as Indiana Jones.
I saw it on YouTube.
Yeah, and then his television show that he had done the pilot for got picked up, and they wouldn't let him do the role. So they started trying to. So when I auditioned for Raiders of the Lost Ark, I auditioned with various actors because they really didn't know who they were going to cast as Indiana Jones. And of course they knew Harrison, but I think because he had played Han Solo, they maybe were a little skeptical to cast him both as Indiana Jones and Han Solo, because they were, they'd always planned for the Indiana Jones film to be more than one. They thought they were going to shoot 3 of them, and they were shooting multiple Star Wars, so they probably thought it would not work well to have him play both roles, but turned out okay.
So from the first one until like 2008 with the Crystal School, how did you feel that? I mean, like 40, 30 years later, you play again as a
It
Marion
was,
in
how many years? It was maybe 20 years later, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. And
yeah.
how did you, when I saw it, I was like, this is the same Marion. How did you, what am I gonna say, replay your role?
Come back into the role?
It's like,
well,
back to the future, back to the
it's funny. It's funny in the sense that, I had stayed, because the film was so successful, over those 25 years, I had seen Harrison and Stephen, and there was still some, connection. They live on the West Coast and I'm on the East Coast, so I don't hang out with them or anything, but You know, the film itself got so much attention, and people were often playing it in theaters on big screens and inviting me to come. And if I could come, I would come and introduce the film and do a little Q&A or something afterwards. So the film was never very far away from me. A lot of times you make a film and the film has its, little period of time in the theater, a month or 3 months or whatever, even if it's successful, and then it sort of fades away, and that's that. It might pop up on television or somewhere here or there. But, a film like Raiders of the Lost Ark has a different sort of trajectory. It never really is very far from people's consciousness. It kind of keeps being being celebrated and keeps being talked about. Yeah. So I think I felt still always very close to that character, and I don't think it was difficult to sort of re-enter. I mean, I had to really give some thought to what had happened to Marion since the last time we saw her. And, some things were written in the story. We know that I've had a child, and we know that I was married to a colleague So we have a little bit of history, but I tried to fill in the rest of that history to make it.
Yeah, and finally you got married to her.
There you go. Mrs. Jones.
Mrs. Jones. And people always ask, what about snakes and monkeys? Which one do you have any problem with this?
Probably the snakes were easier than the monkey. Nobody really ever...
Snakes is easier than monkey?
I think so. I mean, nobody really ever imagines themselves in a room with 6,000 snakes. It's just not something you really would ever choose to do. But we were in these rooms, we were in what was created as the Well of Souls for 12 hours a day for 2 or 3 weeks. We shot with these snakes, and you just, what can I say? You get used to them. They're sort of, okay, bring on the snakes. Wow. But the monkey, monkeys are, they're very different creatures, and it was hot. We were in the desert. We were in Tunisia. It was the summer. They don't like to be in the heat. They don't really, they're not, this particular type of monkey is not particularly easy to train. Although I have to say, it was a pretty good monkey in terms of it had a lot of tricks, it did a lot of tricks. I think there was more than one monkey, if I remember, but the monkey was challenging, I think, for everybody. Yeah, there were probably several monkeys. I doubt we just were working with one. Yeah. But I was very happy to see the monkey fade into
this is like
to the shadows.
Because even the young generations, when they watched the first Indiana Jones, they were like, what about monkeys? What about
Yeah. I did a film once where I had to be around it with a monkey all the time, and it bit me. I almost lost my thumb. It bit my hand so hard right here. The scars are finally gone, but for years I had scars here from a chimpanzee bite.
Wow.
So I try to stay away from monkeys.
Stay away from monkeys. Okay.
I think you need to have talent, and then you need to have commitment, and you need to be sure that this is what you want to do, because it's not an easy life.
You've been acting, for more than 40 years, right?
Yeah, about 45, I think.
45 years. I mean, you have so many roles, from roles in Malcolm X, and there's one movie in Philadelphia. I forgot the post.
Philadelphia.
You work as a post.
Postmaster. That's the most recent film I've done. I've done other films, but they haven't come out yet. It's called Colwell. Yeah, it's out in the countryside in Pennsylvania.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a different role. You play different roles.
Yeah.
Do you have any tips? Because most of the, viewers of our programs and stories are young. They're young. So do you have any tips for the audience how to be a good actress? Because this is like new because this is a new generations, it's a new medium, new media also. So there are a lot of young people, they want to be like as fast as they can be. They want to be like instantly to be an artist because of TikTok, because of YouTube, you know, things like
well,
that.
there is no such thing as instant artist.
So what's the best? So
it doesn't.
just ask.
I mean, I think it's you know, it's a very slow process of, you know, I mean, there are no instant painters or instant musicians or instant sculptors, or, you know, it's a, I think you first have to really feel like you have a deep affinity for the work involved. I mean, to me, it always was a real beauty about stepping into the shoes of another person's life, you know. I mean, we look at a play or we look at a screenplay and people have written a story about a person's life, and we're looking into their relationships and their experiences. And I always think of actors as they step into another person's shoes, and you try to take on as deeply and fully as you can their experiences and find a connection in yourself to those experiences so that you can hopefully portray those experiences as truthfully and as meaningfully as possible. So that's not something necessarily that comes to you like that.
It cannot be like instantly like that. You're gonna be like.
Well, there may be the rare gifted person who is capable of doing that, but I think for most mere mortals, you know, most mere actors, it's a process. You know, you usually begin in the theater, and you usually begin working on, you know, wonderful playwrights' works, and you know, getting out there night after night after night, and working with other actors, and creating, you know, telling stories, and if you love that, you know, I think then you can maybe graduate to working in film. Although a lot of people start in film, I'm glad that I didn't, because I feel like working in the theater gave me a really good foundation.
You started from FIT.
Well, no, I mean, FIT was a whole other direction I might have gone in my life, and I did later come back to it. But no, I started working in the theater maybe when I came back from traveling. So I was maybe 22 when I started working in the theater. You know, some actors start as children. You know, some start in their teens, some go to college and go to, you know, acting programs in college. You know, there are so many different directions you can come as an actor.
So,
I mean,
so do you think that education is very important right now to be an actor? Is it a talent, or do you need a talent, or do you need educations? Because
I think it's both. I think you need to have talent, and then you need to have commitment, and you need to be sure that this is what you want to do, because it's not an easy life. I mean, it's no cakewalk, as they say. You know, it's many challenges to being an actor, lifestyle challenges, you know, and you also, you know, you have a job, then you're out of work, then you have a job, then you're out of work, and you have a job, and then you're out of work. And when you do work, you work, you know, 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. Often you travel away from everyone you know and love, and your sense of home. And, you know, it's not for everyone. There's a lot of people who really couldn't live the kind of life that an actor lives. But if you are one of those people who can enjoy that sort of life, you know, then that's an important skill to have. It's an important part of, it goes along with the talent, you know. But I don't think, you know, and fame is way over appreciated. It's really not that much fun to be famous, honestly.
Really?
Really not.
Really?
No. Most actors would rather be able to do the work and not be famous. Yeah.
So what next after this? You're going to make
For
another
me,
movie?
yes, I just finished one, and
you want to tell?
It's called A Stage of Twilight, and we shot it about 5 hours from here in Connecticut, going towards New York City. And it's based on a play that I've been involved with the playwright working on for a number of years.
Okay.
And during the beginning of COVID, she wrote it as a screenplay. So we went and shot it in June and July. And then I'm going to go and shoot a role in a film in a couple of weeks.
We're gonna wait for Karen's new movie. All right, thank you so much, Karen.
My pleasure.
For your time,
My
and
pleasure.
hopefully people, especially people, the audience of Voice of America will always follow you, although you don't have the voice.
I don't have followers, but they can follow
But
other
we fo-
aspects of my life.
We follow you from Indiana Jones, from Michael Bay, we follow you everywhere.
They can follow my films, which is what people used to do. People actually, if they liked an actor, they just watched their films.
Yeah, thank you so much, Karen.
My pleasure. Okay, thanks.